What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I am coming at you from the Fort Kearney Trading Post on I-80, exit 279 in Nebraska. Got a delivery tomorrow in North Platte, Nebraska. And then after that, there's a snowstorm coming in Colorado. So I told my fleet manager, you know what? Just let me deadhead home because I know there's some snow coming. So I'm like Motley Crue. I'm on my way home. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to talk about, I'm the first one to be critical about some fleet managers sending out stuff that I think might be a little condescending. But I wanted to kind of talk about one that I saw a while back. I've been kind of contemplating, should I do it? Should I not? Last thing I want is people at Prime on my radar and stuff like that. And this might be something that might put me on the radar, but I didn't want to talk about it. So I do think that some fleet managers say stuff that's a little bit out of pocket. But let's talk about this interaction that I have here. Now, what I'm going to do, this was a Facebook post, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the post that the driver Prime sent, and then I'm going to read kind of what she's replying to, which was the message that was sent out by the fleet manager to the fleet, okay? And I'm going to kind of give my 2 cents in as we go along. So I'll be commenting in between reading all this stuff. So she posted what her fleet manager said, and then this is what she says. These type of messages are extremely rude, preventing me from going to my fleet manager with open communication and tears down trust. As for me, I can't run 11, 10, 11, 10 on repeat. I get too tired, and I don't want to run so hard that I hate my job. Let's start there. Listen, I was born in 68, so that means I'm like at the tail end of the baby boomers and very beginning of the Gen Xers. The people I grew up with and the people I know, we don't have to like our job to do the fucking job. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. So that is like a distinction that's like a new thing right there, where you actually have to like your job. I've said it numerous times. I do not like driving trucks. I do it as a means to an end. I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh shoot, I gotta love driving today. No, I don't like it on good days. So let's continue. I need more than a 10-hour break often. So I've learned to set my PTA out after I complete each load to give myself some room to breathe. Less money, sure, but at the end of the month, I'm still doing great financially. You know what? As long as you want to own up to those shortcomings, I'm fine with that. But, this is a team effort, so it's not just all about how you're doing financially. You got to be thinking about how the fleet manager's doing financially as well. I've been doing, I've been doing better lately, and I haven't been late anymore since I started doing this. Now, that's the first thing right there. Being late, now that's something I'm extremely anal about. I know that this isn't like something that a lot of people take to the same degree as me, but when I say that I've been late in my entire life, like I can maybe count on one hand, maybe 2 hands, the entire times I've been late, whether that's to house parties and insignificant stuff like that, or to like client appointments and those type of things. Being late is not even in my vocabulary. So saying that you haven't been late isn't like saying anything like that shouldn't be expected in the first place. Also, as far as late loads go, I stopped accepting loads where the 01 is already late when it's handed to me, unless they're prepared to get sales to change the 90 to equally as late as it's going to take me to pull out of the 01. I disagree with that, and partially. So if you leave the 01 but you still have time to make it, but you want them to adjust your hours so you could like get the most of the time. A lot of these loads are, I'm not even going to talk about how they're based on what I've seen, but changing an appointment time just because your O1 extended out longer than what it should have makes no sense unless you legitimately cannot make that 90 on time. If you can't make that 90 on time, then that's when you bring it up and say, listen, I got loaded late. I cannot make it to the 90 on time. Not because you just want to like drive randomly and stop at a bunch of different places and get all this relaxation. So I don't agree with that. If you can't make the load, that's one thing. But just saying, okay, I got loaded late at the one, now push out. No, I don't agree with that. Unless you physically can't make it. Let's see. I was only late on loads until it took me, the newbie, to figure these things out. You're either going to be late or you're not. If you get loaded and you're going to be late, that's when to bring it up. That's when to communicate with your fleet manager and tell them, I'm not going to make this load because I can't physically make it. They're not going to hold you to that standard if you can't. Do the best you can. You can't do more than the best you can. Now, if you're saying, okay, well, I normally drive 58 miles an hour and I only drive 8 hours a day, and maybe it takes you to run, 65 miles an hour, and maybe you have to drive a little bit more than 8.5 hours a day, then sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But I'm actually getting a little mad at this. Okay, so how do you guys feel about these type of messages? Do you think, how do you guys feel about these messages? Now I'm going to go ahead and read the messages. So here we go. Like I said, I've seen some messages from fleet managers that I thought were a little bit disrespectful, and they were things that I probably wouldn't be dealing with. But here we go. Here's the message. Good morning. We are having major problems on my fleet with taking long breaks, then arriving at the receivers late. This is completely unacceptable, and your customers grade you by the minute. That means 1 minute late is late. I agree with this. And this message would not have been sent had people not been late and taking longer than 10-hour breaks because, whatever, after they shut down. Stop taking 12-hour breaks 300 miles away from a receiver expecting nothing to go wrong. This is trucking and you can't control the traffic. Many times I've mentioned I get where I'm going and then I relax. Too many people are out here trying to run this 8.5 hour day or whatever it is because they're out here trying to ration their hours and think that they're saving time on their clock. And I haven't taken a 34-hour break in like damn near a fucking year unless I needed it because I needed to relax and decompress. All you guys are thinking that you're saving your hours because you're running 8.5 hours is you're not saving your hours. There's always days when you're not running those. There's always days that's going to balance out your driving. And if you're doing these 8 hour days or 8.5 hour days and you're running 58 miles an hour, that's a recipe for disaster right there. I don't know how you're profitable. I'm just going to say it right here. But that's you. Run your truck how you run it. So anyway, stop taking 12-hour breaks 300 miles from a receiver and expecting nothing to go wrong. I've mentioned this in videos before. Get there. This is trucking and you can't control traffic, and traffic is not an excuse after you sit longer than 10 hours. And then he says, start planning your trips before you leave, before you go to the shipper. You should know how many miles a shift you should plan to drive and where you plan to take breaks. This fleet manager is actually giving a benefit of the doubt, because I wouldn't even give you that benefit of the doubt. If I was a fleet manager, my philosophy would be get that load, run it out the maximum amount of miles, as many days as it takes, then set up. I'm not asking for excuses down the road. I'm wanting you to get there. So he's actually being softer than I would be. And then he goes on to say, I personally, he doesn't say personally, but I'm just saying personally, I have taken a lot of service failures recently to protect. Hold on. Okay, I have recently taken a lot of service failures to protect the drivers. So this is a fleet manager that's actually covering for your weak ass driving and taking the hit himself. That will stop today. That shit should have never even began, to be honest with you. Now, I'm going to say something at the end of this. If you plan on taking a long break, fail to plan, or don't communicate you are late, then that is a driver service failure. Currently, we are not retaining drivers who become service-related issues. That means they're getting rid of fools. So, hey, if you're one of them guys, you might want to step it up. Let's work together and get this right going forward. Thanks for all you do. I'm not going to put this fleet manager's name out there, but I totally agree with what he's saying in this. Now, what I was going to say is I do believe...
Message has arrived. Attention, a new important message has arrived.
I do believe that I would be an excellent fleet manager. And I believe that because I'm all about communication, I'm all about trust, I'm all about respect, all that kind of stuff. But one thing that I was in the mortgage industry, and it kind of carries over a little bit, not as much as it was when I first got in the business, because, you know, when you first get into that, maybe you feel like you need to be domineering over somebody, you know, but once I got things leveled out, I am pretty, like, strict about some things. And people being late, if you're gonna, like, I can assure you, I don't know how loads are given out, any of that kind of stuff. I'm not even saying that. If I was a fleet manager and you showed the propensity, whatever, to be late, I'm not putting you on. There's gonna be some accountability that you're gonna have to take for that, and that could be financially, it could be whatever it is. But there is no way I'm gonna just have you out here showing up late all the time, and not have anything to say about it, or not have any repercussions because of it. So I believe in this instance here that the driver's a little soft, and the fleet manager's right in this. And I've been in situations where, now I've learned to kind of rein that in a little bit as I got more into my management career. But, you know, I'm in the meeting with the owner of the company. He's lighting my ass up. The first thing I'm going to do is go back to the loan officers, and, you know, shit rolls downhill. Now, I got better with that as I matured in age. So, you know, that... I would handle things differently now, but either way, it's gonna roll downhill. It may not roll downhill with the same condescension and, you know, those kind of things it would before, but I would hold people accountable. And as soon as a driver expresses to me that they're, you know, like, not in this full time and they want to understand how much stress it puts on a fleet manager or a sales load planner, whatever you want to call them, when they don't know when you're going to be ready. Okay, well, they're going to deliver a load and then they're going to put their PTA off for this amount. Like, you're just adding another level of stress. I know it's hard to get off of a fleet manager's fleet. I don't know if it's hard to kick a driver off of a fleet, but personally, me as a fleet manager, I would kick this driver off. I'm not dealing with that driver. Personally. So, I know I've been hard on fleet managers and I've been hard on some things like that, but this is a case that I just cannot fault the fleet manager in. So, let's see how many subscribers I can lose over this one right here. Every time I say something that doesn't go in the driver's favor, I literally will lose like 3-4 subscribers, and I'm pretty sure that's going to happen on this one. But, you know, it's not all about a big dick swinging contest over here at No Hippie and Trucking and Transportation. So, what do they say? What's that old shit that they used to say back in the days? A little bit of sugar makes the medicine go down. Well, I ain't got no sugar to help this medicine go down, so hopefully you can swallow it either way. I do appreciate you stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, though. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.